So hello from BelievingBruce here in the Turkey. That's how we got welcomed when we landed on the, when did we land? Monday night. Welcome to the Turkey. Made us smile. But again, the guy's English is far better than my Turkish, so cheers to that. So what I want to talk about today is performance, anxiety, mental health. Oh, just having an FS here, why not, on holiday? Have a beer, cheers to that. So yeah, well-being, mental health, performance anxiety, very, very linked to what's going on with the KSI Logan Paul fight. And the reason why I'm actually linking the two is that obviously most of the views I've got on my videos are for the KSI Logan Paul video. My passion is mental health, well-being, again helping you look inside your head so you can think, feel and act a little bit better, which is inextricably linked to what's going on the 9th of November. So if you like what I'm doing, please subscribe, do it now. Please click the thumbs up, do it now, and also click the thumbs up at the end if you think I've had value with the content that I am about to deliver. So KSI, Logan Paul, what we focused on at the moment, how fast did the punch, how hard did the punch, how does he look? Look at the six-pack, look at the pecs on those two gentlemen. However, what we're not looking at is what is going on inside the head, what is going on inside the heart, because those things there are the invisible type of forces that we cannot see. However, they are without doubt, and I want you to reflect on this for yourself, the most powerful force of positive or negative energy that will impact your performance in any given situation. This is fact. Now, what we have got with KSI Logan Paul, in fact, let's just take mental health and well-being as a generic stance at the moment. There's a lot of language that's going on where mental health is always linked to, or generally linked to, I'll put a caveat in there, depression, stress, anxiety, lots of what I would call the negative, unhelpful side. But mental health and well-being is at any given time your emotional state. Now yours will be different to mine, will be different to Bob next door or Susie up the street. Yeah, it's about you and how you feel at any given time. And what you've got to ask yourself is that, is the thoughts that I am having, is the narratives that I am playing in my head, are they helpful to me? Yeah, because mental health is that plane, is that balance, is that baseline emotional state that will fluctuate from any given time. Everybody feels up, everybody feels down, everybody feels happy, everybody feels sad. You know, to have those fluctuations is average, is common, it's a state, is a sensation that everybody goes through. So, you know, when you're feeling really, really happy, you're not over-optimistic. When you're feeling really down, it does not mean you're depressed. You're just experiences the flows and ebbs of life's emotional journey. But where it comes into how does it affect my performance is that with the KSI and Logan Paul, they will be bringing thoughts, realities, narratives that we may not be aware of as the general viewer to the picture, which may or may not impact their performance. It may be positive, it may be negative, but here is out and I'll explain why. So, what is the biggest difference between Monday morning and Friday afternoon? So if you work in an office, if you work in a factory, wherever you work, if you're on the dole, who cares? Yeah. For those abroad, the dole means unemployment benefit. Yeah, so if you're on the door, the biggest difference between Monday morning and Friday afternoon is the way you look at it. The way you think, feel and act. So you think about Monday morning a certain way. Oh my Lord, I can't wait for this week to be over. Just give us a bit of space. I need to get it going. I need to crank my way through this week. And then that impacts how you feel. You may be lethargic. You may be a little bit depressed. You may be a little bit down. Let me rephrase that. You may be down. I've got to watch myself when I say the word depression here. And then the action, you may be a bit sluggish. You're not as collaborative. You're not as energetic. Fast forward to Friday afternoon. It's disco time. That's what we're here for. It's the party. That party that you go to on Saturday night was always there. It was always there. It was there on Monday morning. However, the way you're thinking about Friday afternoon, high-fiving, backstep, everybody's backflipping out the office, yeah? Beers in the hand. But the biggest difference is it's how you've thought about it. Because how you think about it dictates how you feel. Hormonal regulation. Yeah? Hormonal regulation. Put think and feel together and you've got your action. You've got your result. You've got your reality that you start reacting to. So KSI Logan Paul, I'm using that as the theme, but this is relatable to anybody in any country at any given time. Ego is at play here. We create narratives based on trying to keep us safe. We create narratives on trying to stay away from danger to self-preserve. That's why when you, let's just say you're going for a job, you may convince yourself not to apply because you're not good enough in your own head. You may come up with a business idea, then you convince yourself, I won't start because it will fail. You might have an idea that you don't want to offer it to anybody because everybody will think it's shit. This is the normal story, this is the normal narrative that people can create. That's actually what's called a limiting belief. In the psychological perspective, it is a limited belief from a psychological perspective. In that, you actually talk yourself out of it. As in, you know, on this channel, BelievingBruce, I say to you, there is no tougher opponent you will ever meet than the one inside your head. Now just pause and think about that. Well, I take a sip of my beer. It's true though, isn't it? The toughest opponent you'll ever meet is the one inside your head. We crucify ourselves. And it's all to do with these narratives that we play, that we try to stay away from danger. Now, with the ego that I mentioned before, KSI, Logan Paul, they are entertainers, therefore they need to entertain. They're not just doing it for the good of their hearts, for you, the audience, for me, you know, making videos about that. They, as well as being entertainers, they need to entertain. I would hazard a bet without meeting these two guys, they need that adoration. They desire that acknowledgement of likes or lols or subscribers or whatever else, you know, goes on in this digital world that I am brand new to. So, they could be playing a narrative that will be impacting on them. What happens if I lose? What will people think? How will I live this down? How can I continue this? All of that thinking, remember, think, feel, act, think, feel, act. All of that thinking then can generate a feeling of anxiety, of stress, because that's what it is, it's a sensation. Yeah, so when we think of something dangerous, you know, in fact, let's take it to something you may have experienced yourself. You think of when you've sent somebody a text and they haven't responded to you. Or somebody sent an email with 2 exclamation marks on the end. We'll generally create a negative story. Why haven't they responded? Are they bored? Are they not interested in me? Do they not like me? Etc, etc. 2 exclamation marks. Are they unhappy with me? Are they angry with me? Are they going to sack me? Blah, 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 blah. But our thoughts can shoot off, boof, 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 in that unhelpful direction. All of this could be affecting us as the normal human person day-to-day life, but as well as KSI and Logan Paul. Now, how that shows up in the fight. So we've heard the phraseology of nervous energy, adrenaline dump, all this type of stuff. And they exist. Maybe they need tweaks slightly to be grammatically correct or scientifically, scientifically correct. However, let's just go with the normal folklore of adrenaline dump. So we get excited, our amygdala fires, our sympathetic nervous system fires up. We see the saber-toothed tiger in front of us. That could be a thought within KSI or Logan Paul's head. They could be having that right now. They've just thought of what will it feel like to lose. Boom, the saber-toothed tiger is in front of them. Their amygdala fired. You've got that, you know, adrenaline injection into the bloodstream, followed by that immediate low. It's when people can lift cars off kids. You get that urge, but then you're knackered afterwards. Depending on how many times they're thinking about it, depending on how many times you come across a situation on a daily basis that you feel is threatening, or you tell yourself the story that it is threatening. You have these reactions, your muscle tight, you know, tension in the thoracic area, your jaw tightens, your hands grip. You might be doing this 10, 20, 100 times a day. That's maybe where you feel knackered at the end of the day. But the first step that both these fighters and us as individuals can do, normal Joe Public, is to start raising our awareness to the stories that we are creating. Because that is one of the biggest KPIs, the control measures that you can do as an individual for helping yourself to start feeling better about yourself. And the thing with KSI and Logan Paul as well. And any sportsman, anybody who comes across what's called a threatening situation, I would do it with 2 hands, but I've got a beer in this hand here, is become aware of the story that you're telling yourself. Because that's where anxiety starts, right back here at the think phase. I think about a certain way, about a certain topic, which makes me then feel a certain way about a certain topic, and then I then react to that topic in a certain way. But I've actually built that. I've come up from scratch and I've built that. I've created the foundations, I've put the brick walls in, I've put the roof and the chimney on, and now I'm living in the house. Now I want to talk about a few different tools, and I'll do that in some different videos because it would elongate this video. And I just wanted to give you the introduction to link it to KSI, Logan Paul. They will be having thoughts, thinking, yeah, that may be linked to self-preservation, that may be linked, you know, that community type action, that anthropology, that I need to survive, that DNA, that I'm a caveman, I need to provide for my family. That often a lot of the decisions that we make still in 2019 are linked to those self-preservation mechanisms. but they will be generating feelings, that hormonal regulation, and that's where this performance anxiety comes from, or any type of anxiety. That rush, that release of adrenaline, or ongoing transformational release of cortisol. Set your reminder twice a day. Do this for the next week if you're interested in mental health, if you're interested in well-being, if you give a shit about your own performance. Twice a week, but you've got some space to think, either lunchtime if you're working, or at night time. But again, try it twice a day, and it's just for 5 minutes, and write down some of the stories that you've been telling yourself that are unhelpful to you. What narratives I've been creating? Where did that come from? What actually happened? And then what did I add on to create this monster behind the door? And the more you become aware of the narratives that you're telling yourself, you'll then be enabled, empowered, if you will, educated, to come up with the next tool that I'll talk about on the next video, which is the fact or fiction ladder. How far am I away from facts compared to fiction? But the first stage here is to become aware of it. Remember, mental health, well-being. Everybody has got an emotional baseline that's just different from the person next to them. That's fine, and we need to acknowledge that. Your baseline is perfectly you, so roll with this. We talk about mental health and well-being as if we're all alone and nobody else has got it. There is more people that have had mental stress than have had broken leg. That have had a broken leg. Yet we talk about broken legs so fluently, so offering so authentically. And yet when someone talks about mental health, we're still about 100 decades behind where we should be. You've got your own mental health. You will create stories just like KSI and Logan Paul based on danger. Those dangerous narratives may play havoc with your performance or your well-being on a day-to-day basis. The first step is to start writing them down. And please share your stories below of any mental health or well-being stuff, because I'm getting loads of messages that I can't answer accurately or fully. But maybe if you're up for this, what we could do is share our stories or message me, and what I might do is take an example and take you through all the psychological processes, the cerebral processes that's going on, the hormonal regulation, the hormonal reactions, which part of the brain comes into play and why, so we can share the learning, because what's happening to you may be not different to happening to your pal next door, or the blokes you go to school with, or the people that you work with, or the girls you go out on a night with. Is that you're definitely not alone. So maybe share your stories, tell me what's going on, and maybe I'll take one of those examples as anonymously as I can and share the learning from that, so we as a Believing Bruce community can actually take that learning forward. I think that would be a really cool idea. But yeah, write them down twice a day and just practice that for 7 days. That's it, no more than that. Again, you don't have to. You might be totally in control of your own shit, which in which case, slange of all. But if you do think you can improve, if you do think you need a little bit help, write them down for 7 days. Write the thoughts down that you've had and just ask yourself, what is fact and what is fiction within my thoughts? And if you can do that for 7 days, you're well on the way to having that first step to be able to take that next tool, which is the fact or fiction ladder, which I will be covering in the next video. Maybe it's not the next video, the one after that. Depends how many beers I've had. But yeah, please subscribe, give us a thumbs up. Let's create like a little series of mini videos that could be really helpful to us as the Believing Bruce community, but also the wider community as well. And again, these two guys are fighting on the 9th of November. They will be creating realities exactly the same as you're creating your reality about your life. It doesn't have to be on a big stage in front of millions of people watching on YouTube or Sky or DAZN, or with 20,000 people in the arena. It's that those decisions that we make, we could see them as a threat. It could be really unhelpful, and that's what this channel is designed to do. So please leave your comments below, give us a thumbs up, subscribe. Believe in Bruce, keep it real.